Tonight, reform advocates say Florida's guardianship system is putting our area's most vulnerable, even some of your loved ones, at risk. You're watching 10 Tampa Bay at 6. I'm Carolina Lee.
And I'm Dave Wagner. In Florida, court-appointed guardians can have full control over a person's life and finances. This evening, 10 Tampa Bay's Aaron Parsegian is digging deeper into how, in some cases, that power leads to exploitation and a growing push for change.
Oh, I do these just about every day. What I'm looking for is the texture and the wood.
95-year-old Thomas Foster Sr. has a vision for these clothespins.
He designs the pattern. He gets small ones, medium ones, large ones.
And with some glue, he makes these crosses, selling the handmade crafts at a local market to raise money for disabled veterans.
We've been doing that for a long time for the DAV.
For Thomas, family is everything. He lives with his daughter Sue at her Bel Air Beach home.
He goes to the gym 3 days a week, sees all of his friends at the gym.
A welcome sense of comfort after what they've dealt with over the last few years.
I feel like we're the poster child for what is not guardianship, and yet we were subjected to this for 3 years. And it completely devastated my father.
Thomas Foster Sr. is one of the rare Floridians, even Americans, to escape what's called guardianship.
We don't have the statistics, but we venture to think it's probably less than 1%.
Under Florida law, courts can appoint guardians to make all life and financial decisions for a minor or, most often, older seniors with disabilities.
First thing they take away from you is the power of attorney and your healthcare surrogacy. That now is a stranger's responsibility.
Where they live, who they see, and how their money gets spent is all up to the guardian, a person who in Florida only has to be 18 years old, pass a background check, and take a 40-hour training course.
There's a lot of people that need assistance, they need help. That doesn't mean they need an emergency guardian. That doesn't mean that they have to be put into a full guardianship and again be stripped of all their rights. My father didn't need the assistance.
A court placed an emergency temporary guardianship over Sue's dad, triggering a years-long legal battle that cost her hundreds of thousands of dollars just to fight and try and take back care.
When people first hear that it happened or it happened to somebody like us, they honestly can't believe it. My father's going to be 96 years old. He wants to live in peace. He wants to be able to spend time with family and friends. And this just about took my dad out. Literally. It's been so painful.
Why do you think there is so much corruption within this system?
Well, I think the system itself is based on exploitation.
The guardianship system is in place to protect the most vulnerable, but reform advocates argue in many cases it puts them at greater risk.
The problem is there is not tremendous oversight. The temptation for wrongdoing is just too strong.
Holes in Florida's guardianship system have been on Pinellas County Clerk Ken Burke's radar since taking office in 2005.
Because there's been abuses that have taken place, unfortunately. Guardians have isolated wards from their family. There have been case after case of guardians who have stolen from their wards.
You not only stole their meager possessions and savings, but also their dignity.
In July, Tracy Hudson, the former president of a local guardianship association, was sentenced to 8.5 years in prison for stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from several seniors she had in her care, using their money to buy a home, jewelry, and premium seats to Bucks games.
These are the ones that are documented, which we know there's been nefarious activities. How many others are there out there where it's not as apparent?
Burke headed up a statewide task force who drafted this report with 10 recommendations to improve the broken system, from identifying problem guardians to preventing unnecessary appointments.
And I did a sample of the last 30 guardianship filings, and it was like 95% got proved to be incapacitated. So you wonder, is the examining committee really doing its diligence to make sure that the person really is incompetent, or is the process too much of a rubber stamp?
The report has helped change state law. In April, a statewide guardian database will be established to give judges better oversight. But he says more reforms will need to be made, especially in Florida, where millions of seniors remain at risk, many of them away from immediate family, potentially just one accident away from losing their rights.
Florida doesn't need a good system. Florida needs a great system, and we're not there yet.
Now, most professional guardians are doing the right thing for the right reasons, but people like Burke say the environment right now is just too ripe for wrongdoing.
Yeah, you feel for this family, no doubt about it. What can people do to protect themselves?
One of the most important things is meeting with like an elder law attorney, getting your affairs in order, just in case something does eventually happen, God forbid. Now, there are also some proposals aimed at filling some of the holes in the system right now. We're going to take a deeper look at those tomorrow night at 6.
Important story. Thanks for sharing it here. And you can read the Guardianship Improvement Task Force's full report alongside this story on our free 10 Tampa Bay app.